So what are the opportunities for, small to mid-tier brands playing in the metaverse as it kind of continues to roll out?
Well, I think the first thought I would bring to it before even thinking about what the mechanical answer is of, where do you jump in and what do you do? I think it's what is that deeper message that you're trying to communicate if you're a brand or if you're a broadcaster? What is it that you're trying to accomplish with that audience experience? That in and of itself is not a quick answer. It's actually a journey because we're so used to sort of micro evolutions where we just build on top of what we've done and build on top of what we've done that suddenly you're kind of confronted by these much bigger questions. And that will take some time, but it's also really the best flashlight you've got to start with and say, okay, here are our values. Here's what we're trying to communicate. You're adding almost every kind of possible dimension of detail and nuance to a product all at once. And frankly, who wants to take that kind of risk in a sense, right? Either on an individual or scale basis. And so you do find certain brands that are comfortable doing that. And I would say that for the larger audience, we see that they need a pathway to work with their creative teams to bring creative to life. You think of what web was in the mid-90s, right? Very few folks could on their own, or companies could build their own website in any way that felt really meaningful or was easy to manage. And it wasn't till there were technologies for the developers themselves or for whom the brand was hiring the developer that let them sort of jumpstart into the process. So from a company strategic standpoint, we believe all the value lies in the fertility of the relationship between the brand and consumer or content creator and audience. And that for that to find its maximum value, it needs this quote unquote open metaverse that everybody's talking about, where those brands need to be able to develop and own and manage and control their own bits and pieces. And so for us, that appetite is very clear. We actually see there's a huge gap, really, and that those that are building right now, it is like early websites where every version you're basically building from scratch. There's no connectivity between them, but you're going to see some standardization and tools that people can use to bring to life as partners and innovators like Francois sort of figure it out in a sense, and at least have the authority and creativity and willingness to take that chance on their own instinct and jump in. And then I think ultimately what that cascades down to, which is sort of the other end of the metaverse, is the creator economy, right? And so you have this, right? You have this super high-end, top-tiered, Nike's going to do it a very specific way. We'll do it a very specific way with Discovery. That's going to reveal some things, some commonalities. You need some standardization. How does the TV work? Well, they had to standardize some things, so that it was effective. And I think you'll see these tools and capabilities. There already is a lot of of interest and activity of this in the creator economy, but the real meat and potatoes, I think, needs to be underwritten by the major brands so that then it can be offered at scale, agnostic to any particular platform, so that you're not trapped on a third-party platform as a creator or as a larger brand.